All right, then, let's get started with what you can do to start generating a massive amount of referral opportunities to grow your business. Now, most of you on this conference call, webinar, broadcast with me, most of you are in the automotive industry, and that's going to be my audience. Even if you're not automotive, I'm going to be speaking to the automotive people in this call and on this broadcast because that's my core competency. That's my core audience. I love car salespeople. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how you can grow your referral business. Let me begin with a very brief introduction. I want to make sure that you guys do know who I am and what's going on. So my name again is Jonathan Dawson. Most of you will know me from the Six Figure Sales Strategies group on Facebook, which is a closed automotive only group for content and strategies. That's my group, and I started that to help you grow your business and learn some key strategies and some ways to sharpen your skills and make yourself more effective with your customer. On top of that, you may know me through Sellchology. I have my Sellchology University, and I speak at conferences. I was just at Digital Dealer Conference, and I speak at conferences all over the country. So if you know me from that, hey, good to see you again. If you don't know me from that, well, that's a brief introduction. Now you know me. I want to go ahead and tell you what you can get and what you should expect from this broadcast and from this time together. What's going to happen is to get the most out of this, if you have the ability to take some notes, I'm going to encourage and invite you to do so. The YouTube diva, hey, Elise is online. Thanks, Elise. If you are going to get the most out of this broadcast, please do take some notes on the content that I'm about to share with you. I'm going to give you some specific things that you can do to increase your referral opportunities and ultimately to move yourself towards a higher referral sale percentage of all of your sale transactions. So that's what you can expect. Please do, if you can, get something to write some notes on. It'll be most advantageous for you that way. All right, the format of the call. Here's what you can expect from the call and from this interaction. I'm going to go for about 20 or so, 30 minutes, and I want to give you a lot of content up front. Then I'm going to open it up for interactive questions so that you can actually interact with me. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A. If you're on the conference call with me, that's when you'll be able to actually, I'll unmute the line and you can tell me, hey, here's what I want to know about what you said. If you're on Periscope or if you're on Meerkat, you'll be able to text through and I'll be able to respond to your questions at the end of this presentation. So now, let's go ahead and get into the meat of what you want to know. How do I increase my referral sales? I want to begin by what I identify as the 5 most common mistakes that I think salespeople make and why their sales are so limited from referrals. It doesn't matter if you've been in the business for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. Every time I talk to a salesperson about their referral business, if I ask, do you believe you're getting as many referral sales as you should? They all say no. They all want more. So how do we do that? What's the mistake that's causing this? Well, I want to share with you 5 mistakes that I identify, and I think this will help you. It says here, if you would follow me, I couldn't respond to your... sorry, Tom, you'll have to catch the broadcast. All right, mistake number 1, not asking. The very first mistake that I find salespeople make and why they're not growing their referral business like they should and could is, quite frankly, very few salespeople consistently ask for referrals. Maybe in the past you used to ask, and because you didn't get great results from it, you decided not to do it anymore. My experience working with salespeople is whenever they're taught to do something that gets them some form of instant gratification, then salespeople are inclined to want to do it again and again. But if I teach you a technique that doesn't give you any gratification for 6 months or a year down the road, it's very hard for the average salesperson to get excited about doing that technique. So the first mistake I think we make is that we have maybe never developed the habit of asking, or we used to ask and we stopped asking for the referrals. So if I can today, I'm going to try to give you great reasons to fix that and to not make that mistake going forward. So we're gonna fix that for you. Okay, there's some people saying on Periscope they're having a challenge. If you're on Periscope, can you message me real quick and just tell me that it's working for you? Because a couple people are messaging in through my phone and telling me they're having some challenges. All right. The second mistake that I find that salespeople are making when it comes to referral business is that they are not asking at the right times. Too often, salespeople are asking for referrals at an inopportune time. So mistake number 1 is they don't ask. Mistake number 2 is that when they ask, it's really the wrong timing. What do I mean by that? Well, too often salespeople will literally wait until after the transaction has happened and there's too much a gap between the emotions of the purchase and the time that the request is being made. For example, now I'm going to try to call them 2 or 3 days down the road and ask for referrals. And that to me is a big mistake. Waiting too long to ask the question is a big mistake when it comes to referral sales. You want to ask for the sale and ask for the referral within a short window of time. If a customer is willing to give you their business, they're willing to give you referrals. Ask early, don't wait too long. So that's the second challenge. The third mistake that I find that salespeople make too often when it comes to referrals is it's the mistake of asking generically. Asking generically is your next mistake. It says here, Periscope is working but not allowing me to text. Again, I apologize if it's limiting you. Again, that's why we're recording this, and I'm going to give you an opportunity if you're a member of management, or if you'd like to get this recording, management can email me and get you a recording of this. So mistake number one, not asking. Mistake number two is asking at the wrong time or waiting too long. Mistake number three is when we ask generically. Too often, I hear salespeople ask for referrals in this very generic way. A generic request would sound something like this. By the way, do you know of anybody else that's in the market for a car that I could try to help? Or, hey, by the way, who else do you know that might be in the market for a car that I could try to help them the way I'm helping you? This request, this passive request, this generic request of, hey, do you know anybody, or who else do you know, is another common mistake people are making when it comes to referrals. And I want to fix that mistake as well. So mistake one, not asking. Mistake two, asking at the wrong time. Mistake three is asking generically, just saying, who do you know, or do you know anybody? We're going to fix that. The fourth mistake that salespeople make, 4 out of 5, is that they only use passive referral strategies. What's a passive referral strategy? A passive referral strategy is where you're only hoping that people will send customers in. That your referral strategy is, if I treat people nice and I do a good job and they like me, if I do all those, then maybe they'll send people in to me. I hear salespeople share this with me all the time. They say things like, well, if I do a good job, people should just send people in anyway. I shouldn't have to ask for referrals. Well, I just think that's a terrible, terrible mistake to think that you shouldn't have to ask for referrals. So this passive mentality is sabotaging your referral business. Mistake number 5, before we get into how to solve this, is they think that they don't influence or control the outcome. Too often salespeople don't think it's up to them to get the referrals. They don't think that they can cause the referrals to come in, that it's not something they can control. And again, I want to share with you, I believe that that's a mistake that people make all the time, is that they think that they're not the ones generating the referral business. You're the one creating the referral. You're the one creating the environment for the referral. Okay, now, how do we fix this? Let's set the stage for the customer. When you're talking to your next customer and you want to increase your chances of referrals, I want you to focus on 3 primary influencers that will help generate an environment and create an environment where the customer is more likely to give you more referral business. There's 3 primary influencers I want to share. Now, in my Sellchology training that I teach salespeople, I try to teach them the 8 core influencers that influence people's decision-making process. Now, out of those list of 8, I'm going to now give you 3. Here's the first one I believe that we need to make sure we're using with our next customer. And it's the principle of liking. Now, this sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? That the customer should like you. But what I want to share with you is that as obvious as it is, not many salespeople go out of their way to make themselves likable to their customer and to make sure that the customer, in fact, does like them and feels that you like them back. So let me give you that. It's 2 sides of the coin. On the one hand, you have to have the customer want to like you. That's helpful. On the other hand, the customer has to also feel that you actually like them. It's got to be mutual. And this principle of liking influences people's decisions. So if I meet a salesperson and I like that salesperson, I'm much more inclined to go out of my way to help somebody that I like. But the other side of the coin is also true. What does that mean? That means that if I feel that somebody likes me, if I feel like you like me, I'm much more likely to go out of my way to help somebody that I think likes me. So this is a double-edged sword. They need to like me, and they need to feel that I like them. That's a powerful influencer. Next influencer is the influencer of obligation and reciprocity. The principle of obligation reciprocity is essentially the idea that If I feel like I've received enough value from you, I'm going to feel like I owe it to you, and I feel obligated to reciprocate and give you value back. That's called the principle of obligation and reciprocity. It says, I feel like you've done something for me, so now I feel like I should do something for you. The old expression, if you scratched my back, I should scratch yours. This is a very basic and fundamental relationship building influencer. All healthy relationships are built on this. If I continue to give and give and give to you, and I don't get reciprocation back, it creates an unhealthy relationship between the both of us. I feel like I'm giving and I feel like you're taking. And that's not the healthy one I want. So obligation reciprocity, the ability to feel obligated and to reciprocate back, is another influencer. The third influencer I want to give you is the influencer of higher authority. Now, higher authority is essentially the influencer that says that we're more likely to do something that an expert or somebody in a position of authority asks us to do. We want to do business with experts. We want to get advice from experts. We'd rather pay for a specialist, especially when it comes to something important. So this principle of higher authority says that if I feel like you're an expert, if I feel that you're someone in authority, I'm more likely to do what you ask, and I'm also more likely to respond to your requests simply because you're an expert and I should do what you say. When it comes to referrals, this is also true because I would rather refer a friend or family member to an expert rather than just somebody who's doing okay. So the higher you position yourself as an expert in the conversation with your customer and in that relationship building, the more you do that, the higher chances are you'll position yourself for referrals. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. We've talked about 5 mistakes, and now we've talked about 3 influencers to set the stage. Now let's ask and answer the question, what is the best time to ask for a referral? I'm going to give you 3 primary opportunities that if you use these 3 windows of time with your customer, you're going to increase your referral sales. The first opportunity of when you should ask for referrals, the first time, is ask for them as an exchange of value from the customer. So for example, if a customer wants something from me, like let's say for example, they want me to give them something, I might respond back by asking for something in exchange. So what happens in this relationship is if a customer wants something from me, they want me to lower the trade or lower the price or increase the trade value or get them a better payment, or possibly they want me to try to find them a better interest rate or locate them an alternative vehicle. Doesn't matter. In the case of the conversation and the interaction with the customer, you're going to have plenty of opportunities where the customer will ask something from you as a sales professional. When that happens as an exchange of value, sometimes that's a great place to use the referral request. It's called the give-get principle. The give-get principle is essentially saying, if you want me to give you something, I need to get something in return. This also helps to prevent the nibbler effect that sometimes happens when you have maybe a customer who asks you for things and asks you for things and asks you for things, and every time you give in, they keep asking for more and more things. Well, part of why that's happening, what's causing that to happen, is that the customer is realizing that every request they make, you're giving them something without it costing them anything. And if that happens enough times, all you do is create a nibbler. So prevent that by doing give-get. For example, I might say Kenny's on the phone. Kenny's on us live right now, and I might say to Kenny, Kenny wants $500 more for his trade. I may say back, Kenny, that's an understandable question. Obviously I want you to get the maximum value for your vehicle. I appreciate what you're asking from me, and I'm not offended that you've asked that. However, I would say this. I don't believe that there is another $500 in value on your car. I am willing on your behalf and for your benefit to ask for the management to take a closer look at the numbers, take a closer look at your car. I will do that for you under one condition. Now that expression, under one condition, is a money maker for you. When a customer asks for something from you, respond back, hey, I understand, I appreciate, I'm willing to look into that for you. I'm willing to consider that for you. I'm willing to investigate that for you. I'm willing to work with you under one condition. I need something from you. Customer will, of course, say, well, what do you mean? What do you need? In this case, with the $500 for the trade, I might respond and say, what I need is I need some ammunition. I need something to go to the desk with, something to go to my management with that gives me credibility and leverage to ask for what you're asking for. So what I want is I want 5 names and 5 phone numbers of 5 people that once we solidify this deal, that you're going to refer and encourage them to come see me for their next vehicle. I need an endorsement from you. And if you'll give me that endorsement of those 5 names and numbers of 5 people you're going to endorse, when I go up to ask the management, they'll take the request more seriously. It doesn't mean that there's $500 more value, but it does mean they'll take your request more seriously. That process is called give-get. It's essentially saying obligation, reciprocity. If you want something of value, you got to reciprocate. That's one place to ask for referrals. The second opportunity to ask for referrals, there's 3 I want to give you. One is in exchange for value. The second one is after the commitment is gained. So when you've got a client or a customer who commits to do business with you, during that window, essentially immediately after the commitment, within a small period of time after that, you've got to then add the referral as part of the process. The customer should expect that your sale came with the endorsement of them endorsing you to their friends and their colleagues and so forth. After all, they just entrusted in your input to make a decision to spend, let's say, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Surely that warrants enough trust to also then endorse you to their friends and family. So you're going to ask for the referral at an exchange of value moment or during the window of the commitment. And the third place is, of course, whenever there's gratitude expressed. You can always ask for referral in exchange for gratitude that's been expressed. So let's say, for example, a customer says to you, wow, I really appreciate what you just did for me. That was amazing. That was wonderful. Thank you so much for going above and beyond, going out of your way, whatever the customer says. When the client says that, when the customer says that to you, you can always respond back with saying, you know what, thank you for recognizing my effort. I'm committed to providing excellent service to all of my clients and, of course, to their friends and family. I hope that the way I've treated you today or what I just did for you has earned me the right to get your referral business as well. They're almost always going to say, oh, sure, yeah, of course, and say, fantastic, because I'm going to ask you to do that and ask you for some referrals. So that's the next way or window to ask whenever gratitude is expressed. Now, we've talked about the 5 mistakes. We've talked about how to set the stage, and now we've talked about when you can ask. Let's get into the request itself. How do you actually ask for referrals? And I have some evidence. For those of you who are on Periscope with me or you're on Meerkat with me, take a look at this. Now, if you're on the conference call and listening to it, what I'm showing those on Periscope and Meerkat is I'm showing them some examples. So these are lists my students send me of the evidence of them getting the referral leads that I'm talking about. So in these examples here, here's 15 names and numbers from one customer at point of sale. Here's a salesman who's texted me this message here. It's a picture of the customer and the referral sheets, and you can see at the bottom there it says 70 referrals from one customer. Mr. and Mrs. Cook were going for 100 when her wrist started to swell. I think that's brilliant, right? The lady was trying to write 100, but she had to stop because her wrist was swelling. All right, here's another one. This one here is a text from my friend Nate DeAllen, official singing salesman, regarding King Stinson. He says, dethroned. He says, 91 names and numbers. 91 names and numbers. 91. Look at that. From one customer at point of sale. Here's another one. This is a happy family. 142 names and numbers they gave the salesman at point of sale. And here's another one. The salesman in 1 month collected 240 names and numbers. That's his first month using the strategies. Here's a salesman giving me an update. It says too many to count. My referral business, I'd have to check. He says I got 7 from Facebook, 7 from referrals, and 2 repeats. I didn't even realize it was that many. And then here's the current record in my group right now. This lady gave a 352 names and numbers to a used car salesman out in Arkansas. Now, why do I show you that? I want to show you that because I want you to understand that what you think is possible, most of you are not getting 1 or 2 or even 3 names every time you sell a car. You need to completely reset what you think you should be getting from referral business. We need to set a standard where if I sell a car, 50 names and numbers is the now minimum that I'll accept. 50 names and numbers is all I'll accept. Anything less than that is unacceptable. So I want you to start raising your standard, because this is how you can work by repeat referral and self-generated business, is by setting a new standard for yourself. When you ask for the referral, I'm going to give you several steps. It's kind of like a 6 little things you can do to increase your chances that a client will give you the kinds of lists I just showed you there. How do you do it? Well, first step is to do what's called pattern interruption. Those of you who know my training, if you're familiar with my work, you understand I teach Sellchology, right? Selling through psychology. I'm a fan, and I'm passionate about understanding what are the principles behind techniques. Most trainers out there are either high on personality, you have to be just like them and it's overdose on their personality, or they're very high on process. They want you to do it their exact way. It's their way or the highway. What I believe is that there are certain principles that make people successful. And if we can learn the principles and the psychology of the principles, we can be successful. So here's some principles. Number 1 is pattern interruption. Pattern interruption means that before I enter into the request for the referral, I have to do something to kind of knock them off their game. I have to try to get them out of, let's see. Okay, so one of the things they want to do I'm sorry, I just saw a message come through. I want to make sure I understood it. So one of the things you want to do is knock them off their game a little bit with some pattern interruption. Yeah, thank you for the Periscope heart. Those of you who are tapping on the screen right now, thank you for giving me some love there. So when you pattern interrupt, you say something they don't expect. You ask them a question they didn't expect to have you ask. That little trigger, that little pattern interruption is all it takes to create the environment in their mind to literally listen to you now and pay attention to what you're saying. If all you do is go straight from, talking to them to, hey, by the way, do you know anybody in the market for a car? They are not listening to that question. They are not paying attention. Rather, what you want to do is knock them off their game a little bit. Say something they don't expect. Hey, I've got a surprise for you. Hey, I need your undivided attention for 2 seconds. Hey, I almost made a terrible mistake. And I'm so glad you didn't leave yet. Wow, that'll get their attention. Step 1, pattern interrupt. Step 2 is to reaffirm their liking of you and your liking of them. Remember, we said one of the major influencers was liking. So I might say something like this. Before we go any further, I just want to say how much I've really liked you guys and working with you guys. And I hope you've liked me too and working with me too. If the customer says, yeah, John, I really like you. I like the way you do business. I like the way you've treated us. Thank you so much. That's what I want to establish, that they like me. The next step is I want to confirm the higher authority position I have in them. So I want to, in their mind, I want to say something like, I hope not only you like me, but I hope that you would trust me if you had any friends or family that were also in the market for a car. I hope that you would trust me if you had friends or family that were also in the market for a car. See, trust is an idea of expert, and you trust people who know what they're doing. So, pattern interrupt. I've got something super important I got to talk to you about. Then, liking. I just want to let you guys know I really like you and I hope you like me. Next one is higher authority. I hope that you would trust me with any friends or family that were also in the market for a car. They're going to say absolutely. The next step is then obligation reciprocity. Here's how you build that in. You say, if you feel like I've added value to you today, if you feel like I've done a good job by you today, I hope it's okay if I ask for something in return. I want to ask you guys for a favor. Is it okay if I ask you to do something for me? That's the obligation reciprocity concept. Now, here's the next step. Okay? We've pattern interrupted. We know they like us. We know we're an authority, right? We've got the obligation reciprocity. We've got the favor thing going. Now, step 5, get specific with what you want. What I want you to do for me is I want you to give me an introduction to your friends and family. I want to get introduced by you to some people that you know would like me in the way I do business. I'm looking for a list of names and numbers of some people that you think would like me. That's what you're going to ask for. Ask specifically for what you want. I want 100 names and numbers. I want 100 people that you know that would like me. Go through your phone from the A to the Z and scroll through and write down the names and numbers of the people that you think will like me. Now, use the contrast principle which is a great principle in psychology. A contrast principle is where you give somebody a big option and then you give them a smaller option. And if you give somebody first a big option, then a smaller one, they're going to be more likely to take the small one, right? So here's what it sounds like if I use contrast. I say, what I want you to do is give me 100 names and numbers of 100 people that you think would like me. And if you can't give me 100, I'll take 50. But I'm not letting you leave without giving me at least 30. And if you do that and ask that way, the average customer, you'd be surprised how quickly they'll start to write down those 30 names and numbers. And if they really like you, they'll go for 50. Heck, if they super like you, they might go for 100. And that's how you get the request in. So pattern interrupt, knock them off their game so they pay attention. Reaffirm that you like them and they like you. Step 2. Step 3, establish your authority in the process, that they trust you and that they would trust you with their friends and family. Step 4, build obligation and reciprocity by affirming the value you've added and asking for the favor. Step 5, get specific with what you want. Tell them what you want them to do. And step 6, use the contrast principle, which is to say, ask for something big, then small, and they'll take the small one right away. Now, our last segment before we go into the Q&A is how to incorporate referrals into your follow-up. That's another big thing I get asked a lot about referrals. How do I use referral techniques in my follow-up strategies? Because maybe you have a database of customers and you haven't asked for referrals in the last 10 years. How do you start asking for referrals? Well, one thing you can do right away is in the 6-Figure Sales Strategies group, right? If you're a member of that group on Facebook, in that group, under the Files section, there's a referral request form that you can edit yourself. I want you to download that form. It's a Word doc. Open it up, edit it to your own desire. Then I want you to mail that form to your client base with a simple letter that tells them what you're trying to do. In fact, you can follow the very same principles I just gave you in how to ask verbally in how you ask in written form. So a written request letter might say something like, hey, I've got something super important I need to ask you. It's really important and I've made a terrible mistake in the past because I didn't ask you this before. So that's your pattern run. Then you say, I want to begin by saying how much I've loved having you as a customer. And I remember your family or your deal or your car and how much you liked it. And I hope you still like me. Next one is, my goal is that I position myself as a trustworthy person and a professional that you would send your friends and family to. Next step is say, if you feel like I've added value to you and if you feel like I'm somebody that you would be willing to do a favor for, would you please do me a favor? Then get specific. I've enclosed a referral request sheet in this letter to you. Would you please take a moment and fill it out and send it back to me? I've also included a self-addressed stamp envelope already pre-addressed back to me so you don't have to do anything else. So send out that letter. That's one of the things you can do. The second thing you can do is to give people a deposit on their bird dog fee. If you're a dealership that has bird dog fees, why not give a customer a deposit on the bird dog fee? Which means you're going to mail somebody $1 or even a $2 bill. When you mail it, include in that a thank you card or a thank you note and a sticky note that simply says, I wanted to give you a deposit on your upcoming check that I look forward to mailing you. We have a great referral program at our dealership that pays out whatever. And here is my deposit on the check I want to mail you. All you have to do is send in a friend or family member who comes in and asks for me and buys from me, and I would love to send you the remaining amount of your referral fee. Asking people for referrals after you've already sent them some money, even $1 or $2, will create that obligation reciprocity. People will have a hard time taking your $1 or your $2 and not doing anything in response. They'll feel bad. Well, not all of them. Some people are sociopaths, but most people will feel bad. And that's what you want. You want them to feel obligated to go out of their way to help you. The third one is called the Pps Techniques, one of my absolute favorites. I hope you love this. The Pps Technique is a technique you use in your follow-up emails or mailer to your customer, where you're going to share with the customer whatever normal information you need to share. For example, hey, it's been a year since you bought your car, or hey, we've got something happening at the dealership, or whatever. At the bottom of your note, I want you to write 2 PS statements. And here's something worth writing down. If you can write down one thing, this will be a nugget you can take away. Write down at the bottom of your follow-up, write down PS, when you get this, give me a quick call. PS, when you get this, give me a quick call, followed by, right below that, PPS, postscript. When you get this, give me a quick call, PPS, did you get your check? If you send out mail, at the bottom of that it says PS, when you get this, give me a quick call, PPS, did you get your check? I guarantee you're going to get some phone calls. People are going to call you and they're going to want to know about this check that they're supposed to have gotten. So that's a technique that will also generate referral opportunities, because when the client or customer calls you back and they say, I got this mail or I got this email, something about a check, what was that about? When they do that, all you have to do is say, you know what, last month we sent out so many thousands of dollars in referral fees. And if I was supposed to send you a check, I wanted to make sure I did. So I can cross-check my references. If you can tell me, did you happen to send anybody in who bought a car from me? Because if you did, I want to make sure that I get you that check. So that's the next step. Hold on one second. If you're on Periscope with me, are you tuning in? Are you guys enjoying this? Is this good stuff? I don't see any hearts. What's the matter with you guys? How come I'm not getting my hearts? I'm not getting my love. My Meerkat here closed. I want to make sure I get it opened up again. So just give me a second here to get that reopened up. Okay, Kenny Landrum, I got the fist. I got the fist bump from the Kenny. Thank you, the Kenny Landrum, the official Kenny Landrum. Who else is on there? How come, Kenny, are you tapping that hearts, my friend? Are you giving me the hearts? Who's giving me the hearts? Somebody's giving me some love. Who's giving me love? There's some hearts. I appreciate that. All right. Sorry, my Meerkat broadcast shut down for just 2 seconds here, so I wanted to make sure it got back up. Okay, so when you do the technique, the PPS technique, when they call back in, just make sure that all you got to do is say, hey, thank you for calling me. If you sent somebody in, I wanted to make sure I got you a check. So that is, in essence, that technique will generate massive numbers of phone calls for you and also create opportunities for referrals. Now, that being said, we're now at the time for the open Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute the line real quick because I have some people on the phone call here who probably have some questions.
All callers are muted.
So let me go ahead and *6 it.
Muted.
5 one more time to open the conversation.
All callers are unmuted.
There you go. Calls are unmuted. It says I'm sending hearts. Thank you so much, Periscope. So I've got Periscope and Meerkat sending me some love. All right, open questions. If you're on the call with me and you've got a question about it, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, if you've got some questions, go ahead and fire away. Says can't send messages on Periscope. Asif says he was sending me crazy hearts. Thank you, Asif. That's nice of you. All right, so go ahead if you got some questions for me. I'm sorry. Alejandro Gonzalez says, awesome conference. Thank you, Alejandro. Appreciate it. All right, those of you on the conference call, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. When calling a referral, what do you say? So the Kenny Landrum asks the question, when calling a referral, what do you say to the referral? So there's a few things about that. I'm going to mute the line again.
I can hear. All callers are muted.
All right, I'm muting the calls. Again, if you're on the conference call, hold tight. I'm going to answer Kenny's question. He says, when you do get a referral on the phone, let's say you call the referral, what do you say? Well, first of all, Kenny, if I may, there's a few things I would do before I would before I would ever try to call a client as a referral lead. I would not call them first. That wouldn't be my preference. And it says, again, I'm getting some messages that Periscope messaging is not working for some reason. So I apologize, but thank you for texting in and messaging through Facebook. I appreciate that, and I'll try to get that handled next time. But so prior to calling the referral, here's my best advice. If the client who you just sold is willing to give you a video testimonial. This is the most powerful way to do it. A video testimonial of their experience as an endorsement introduction to their referral friends. The best thing you could do is get that video and then text a link to the YouTube video you just created with that client. Text that link to the referral prior to the phone call. So I want you to imagine for a moment that you're getting a text on your phone from a number you don't recognize. But when you look at the text message, you actually see, on the message, you see a name you do recognize, maybe your cousin, a coworker, but the text says, Jane Doe just bought a new Camry and wanted to share her experience. Click here to watch the YouTube video. So I click on it, and there's my cousin, my niece, my aunt, my sister, my coworker on a video endorsing a salesperson to me and showing me the new car. Then, moments later, minutes later, or a day later, I get a phone call, and the call would go something like this, Kenny. I would call you and I would say, "Hi, Kenny, this is Jonathan Dawson. I sent you a video yesterday of your friend, Jane, who bought a Camry. Did you get a chance to look at that video?" Now, Kenny's going to say one of two things. Either, yes, I saw the video, or I saw the link, but I haven't seen the video yet. It doesn't matter. At this point, I've now got a soft introduction using the referral friend and the fact that he knows he got a video he probably even watched. That would be the ideal opening line. If I don't have a video, my second best, Kenny, is to go with a photo. If I can text a photo of me and Jane to all of the names and numbers I just collected in advance of the phone call, that would be the next best way to do it. That would be strong. So you might want to go that route with a video first. If not, then a photo. If you don't have the video or the photo, shame on you, because you should. Then you go straight into the phone call, something like this. You would say, "Hi, Kenny, my name is Jonathan Dawson, and you don't know me, but you do know, or you should know, Jane Doe. Does the name Jane Doe mean anything to you?" "Oh, yeah, I work with her over at, ABC Company." I say, "Yes, that's right. The reason I'm calling you is I recently was able to help Jane get into a nicer, newer vehicle and keep her payments relatively low. She just got herself an upgraded car, and when I asked her who she knew that would like the way I do business and would look for somebody like me the next time they were buying a car, she gave me a few names, and yours was at the top of the list." Now, the next step is to start prospecting the prospect. So here's what I say next. I say, "Now, Kenny, you may not actually be in the market for a car at all right now, and I understand. And, at this point, I'm not asking you to buy a car from me. I just wanted to ask you, if you were to buy a car, do you have a trusted friend or family member, a trusted friend in the business? If you or a friend or family were going to buy a car, do you already have a trusted friend in the business?" Almost everybody says no to this. I say, "Well, would you please allow me to give you my information that you could pass on to any friends?" And then I always follow up with since I'm a car guy or car gal, if you're a girl on the line, "Since I'm a car guy, do you mind if I ask you a couple of car-related questions?" Everybody says yes. At that point, then I say, "How many vehicles, how many drivers? If there was one to get replaced, what would be the next one getting replaced?" So that's the approach. Start with a video if you can. If you can't do a video, do a picture. If you can't do a video or picture, then go with the open call. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you, brother. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up the lines again. And if you're on Periscope or Meerkat and you got a question, go ahead and tell me what your question is.
All callers are muted. All callers are unmuted.
All right, callers are unmuted as well. So if you're on the conference call still and you have a question, please ask. Also on Periscope, I got 15 people. Who's on Periscope with me still? It says I got a bunch of people. I got. Yeah, who's that? Go ahead. Yeah, sorry. Are you there? Hello. Talk to me. Make sure I got my volume up here. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, I got people on the call. If you're on the conference call, say your name real quick. Yeah. Are you still on the conference call with me? Yeah. All right. Who's on the call still? Say it again. Sorry. Hi there, Jay. Jay? Just this last few minutes, were you able to hear me at all? Oh wow. I'm sorry to hear that. I think we had a little bit of a technical gap there. So, go ahead. What's your question? No, fantastic. I appreciate that. Well, I think there's going to be some opportunities. If you guys want to reach out to me via if you want to reach out to me or have your managers reach out to me, I'm going to take the recording of this and make the recording available as well. So hopefully I'll be able to do that for management. If you're a manager and you want to get the recording of this, you want to go ahead and email me at info@sellchology.com, info@sellchology.com. And I'll go ahead and send you the recording of this once I get it all processed, and you'll just send that to referral info@Sellchology and just put the word referrals in the subject line. Who else is on the line with me? Hey Ryan, were you able to get most of the call, Ryan? Okay, excellent. Yeah, fantastic. All right, I know that there was some challenges. I got some people texting me and messaging me, but again, info@Sellchology is SELLCHOLOGY, and most of you know how to find me online, so please go ahead and find me there. But we're going to wrap up here. If there's I've got 2 more minutes. If there's a few more questions, I still have some people on Periscope who are live with me. Who's on Periscope? Let me know who you are and send me some love. Also, it looks like I got a few people on Meerkat as well. So if you're on Meerkat and you're still with me, send me a message or let me know you're still live. Who's that now? Corey. Corey, what'd you think of the call? I'm glad. Corey, which store are you at? Oh, excellent. Well, I appreciate you being on the line with me. Any questions I can answer for you, Corey? Good. I'm glad it was thorough for you. I hope you took some notes. All right, excellent. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to close out the call unless there's any further questions. And it says here, referral technique you just discussed, do you have it in PDF form if I search the group? I would have to see that. I'm not sure. I just got a message from Nathan Hayes. Nathan said something about broadcast thing settings or something like that. I don't know what you mean by that, Nathan. You're going to have to tell me what that means. But all right, I'll try to get the PDF and stuff available on the group. I'll see you guys on the 6-Figure Sales group, and appreciate you spending some time with me tonight. All right, take care, guys. All right, thanks on Periscope. Appreciate you. Thanks, Meerkat. Appreciate you. Bye. No pressure. All right, so this is John. I'm here with Chanel.
Hello.
And Isaiah. That's right. And we're all here at Thornton Road Hyundai, and I'm about to ask Chanel for some referrals, and we're going to see how she responds. So, Chanel, you going to play along?
I'm going to play along.
Okay, so very quick, here are the questions I want to ask her. There's 4 questions. So, Chanel, I'll just put the camera on you. You have to answer honestly.
Okay.
Based on the way you were treated here today, if you had any friends or family in the market for a car, would you feel comfortable sending them to us?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. That's number 1. Number 2 question is, based on the way that you were treated here, out of all of your friends and family, Do you know people that you think would like us and the way that we do business?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Question number 3. Is it okay if I ask you then on behalf of King Stinson to do a personal favor for us?
Sure.
Okay, great. Question number 4 is, would you be willing to do a video introduction introducing yourself and King to all of your friends, endorsing King to your friends?
Sure.
And we'll get a list of names and numbers.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do next is that Chanel's going to start on the list where she's going to actually start writing down some names and numbers from her phone of people she thinks would like King if they were ever in the market for a car, that they should come meet him, and then we're going to send that video to all those people. And that's what we're about to do next, correct?
Yes.
Isaiah, we good?
We're good.
All right, now the current record in the country is 352 names and numbers.
Okay.
So I need you to give me a number. What are you committing to? Now keep in mind, there is a direct relationship between the list that you give and the potential for us to send you referral checks.
Oh.
So the bigger the list, the bigger the referral check opportunity.
Okay.
So give me a number.
10.
No. She failed. That was terrible. That was miserable. That was horrible. I just said the record's 352. You're going to aim that low? You don't seem like an underachiever. Do you know what she's buying right now? Chanel, what kind of car are you getting right now? An underachiever's car? What kind of car are you getting?
I'm getting a BMW.
That's right. Is she getting a pretty sweet car?
Yeah, BMW 335i.
Is it an underachiever's car?
Definitely not.
Okay, so it's not an underachiever car, so let's go ahead and ask her the question one more time. The current record is 352.
Okay.
Most of our customers do at least 100.
Okay.
So how happy are you and how excited are you?
I am very happy, very excited.
So give me a number.
Okay.
You can lump him in, he'll help too.
Okay. 150.
150, boom, 150. That's the number we're aiming for. Isaiah, you in on this?
I'm going to have to be. She doesn't have that many friends.
Perfect. All right, that's how you ask for referrals from a customer who's happy. We'll see you guys later. Thanks.